As long as there have been tests, there have likely been cheaters, but technology has made cheating a much bigger problem. Educators are now fighting back, and here to tell us about the latest in that battle is Kim Clark. She's the senior education writer for U.S. News and World Report. And Kim, welcome.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay, so let's talk about this. This is much more advanced than just cutting and pasting off the web.
It is, as you mentioned, it's so easy for students right now to just copy a phrase from Wikipedia and paste it into their paper, but these students are going way beyond that. Some are very cleverly, for example, scanning in the labels from Coke or water bottles into their computer using Photoshop or another photo editing software program to replace, let's say, the information, the nutrition information on the label with actual notes, let's say their formulas for chemistry or something, scanning that in, then printing it out on really nice paper and taping that new label on their Coke bottle. Now, a professor would almost never actually sit down and look at the Coke bottle and read the nutrition information on a bottle of Coke to see if there's physics notes on there, right? So they bring their Coke bottle into the test and voila, they can cheat.
Now that is amazing. And are you seeing this in one particular age group? And by the way, that process sounds a lot harder than just studying for the test.
Well, actually, I've talked to some cheaters and they say, no, it isn't. Actually, if they had to study for the test, they'd actually have to spend hours. And these young people are so good at technology that it takes them just a few minutes to type that in and to print out a new label.
Where is this most pervasive? Is this the high school level, the college level? Where are you really seeing this?
Right. Well, the studies show actually that there's a little more cheating on the high school level than the college level. I think as students grow up and realize they're paying money to go to college, they're a little less likely to cheat. But even so, studies show that up to 40% of the average college campus, 40% of those students have cheated at one time or another.
Now, is that different than what we've seen in the past? Can you attribute this to technology, or is this just students, kids will be kids?
Okay, there's two things. First of all, back in the 40s, only about 20% of the students admitted to cheating. Now, this is self-reported. But the good news is that just 5 years ago, more than 50% of students said they were cheating. So there appears to be a decline in cheating behavior on campus. Now, part of this is just a change in culture. I mean, we look at what's going on in Washington and New York right now, and obviously it's not just kids who are having problems with honesty and deception, right? So this is a larger cultural problem. But secondly, the technology has gotten so easy and the kids are so good at it that it's very tempting for them to take a smartphone and input some notes, or a smartphone can hold an entire book now. It's very easy for them to hide behind another student and just turn on their cell phone and check out the book that textbook they should have been studying.
Well, let's talk about what educators are doing to fight back. They've got Google too. They've got technology on their side as well.
Right. Well, one of the reasons I think cheating had risen so much was because there was such a technological advantage to the students. And professors are starting to catch up, finally. There's great new software they can use. Not only you mentioned Google, but these new programs called Turnitin.com and SafeAssign, which are electronic databases of just about every paper ever written, almost every website, literally millions of papers and websites. Now students have to turn in their assignments electronically, and these programs automatically check them. And if there's a phrase of as few as 4 words stolen from another paper, it will highlight it. So it's very easy for the professors. They don't have to sit there and type something into Google. The papers are just automatically checked. It's been very effective at cracking down on plagiarism. There's also new... Go ahead.
No, I know you said that those numbers were going down, but still 40% is really unbelievable. Who's winning this war?
Well, I mean, I'm hopeful that professors and administrators are, because they're also using new hardware. Online schools, for example, are now requiring more and more students to actually install a webcam on the camera so that someone can watch them take online tests and make sure they're not looking up a book or getting help from another student. They're also requiring the online students to install software that allows proctors to make sure they don't go to websites during exams. So online schools, which used to be really rife with cheating, are really cracking down on that. So they're using hardware, they're using software, and the teachers and professors are actually getting much better at just checking the students. At Penn State and the University of Central Florida, they've set up these very high-tech, high-secure testing centers where the students go in, they have to have their picture taken or something to verify their identity. They're not even allowed to wear a hat with a brim because people have been writing notes on the brim, right? They're not allowed to chew gum because they found that students were hiding earpieces in their ears and pretending like they were chewing gum, but they were really just talking to a helper. So, the SATs and the colleges are really cracking down on what students can do in tests.
Those are just unbelievable lengths. It sounds like I have to go through like an airport screening to go to college these days.
Right, right. I mean, some of the students do object. They complain that they're in sort of a 1984 atmosphere, but colleges think it's worth it to make sure that they're rewarding the students who actually study rather than rewarding the cheaters.
Well, lastly, let's talk about one other way to combat that, and that's the whole honor system. Students, educators going to that model. Talk a little bit about that for us.
Right, that's the old traditional model, and that's actually very effective. If a school emphasizes its honor code and explains why it has it and how students are really just cheating themselves by not learning the information that they're paying to learn, that actually turns out to be very effective in reducing cheating. I just also want to point out that a growing number of professors are realizing that one reason students cheat is because tests are really boring and not really reflective of the real world. And University of Colorado computer science professor, for example, explained to me his tests are, he says to a student, tell me something you want to do with a computer and show me that you can do it. And of course, that's a great assignment and it's very real world. They have to prove that they can do something. And the students don't want to cheat because it's something that they want to do. So it actually reduces cheating even more to get more realistic in academia.
Well, that is encouraging. We're going to end on that note. Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet.
Good things just got better. Introducing an all-new third hour of Good Morning America.
Welcome to Good Morning America Now.
Good Morning America Now. Good Morning America Now.
On ABC News Now.
Get your Good Morning America now at abcnewsnow.com.